Hi there, my name's Simon. Welcome to Film Scene 21, and here I like to bring you real 21st century reviews of film and great television and best ways I believe you can enjoy those through home media. Following in the footsteps of my previous video, Ingmar Bergman's cinema, we're going to keep the highbrow cinema sort of theme going, and we're going to be looking at Shrek. Welcome back, and I do hope you're well wherever you are in the world. Yeah, this episode we're going to take a quick look at Shrek. I'll give you a little overview of the film, dive into what I think about it, there may be spoilers, and then we'll have a look at this 4K UHD Blu-ray Steelbook release and talk about its AV quality, etc. And finally I shall give you a score out of 10 to Shrek. Produced by DreamWorks, Shrek trod fairly new ground when it hit our cinema screens back in 2001. Taking this somewhat traditional fairy tale and flipping it on its head. However, this did prompt DreamWorks lawyers to need to see the film before release, for fear that Disney could sue them over the film's not too subtle satirical references to their films and theme parks. This is how the story goes. When Ogre Shrek, voiced by Wayne's World's Mike Myers, discovers his swamp/home overrun by exiled fairy tale creatures, he heads off to Central Duloc to have it out with whoever is responsible. This turns out to be the megalomaniacal Lord Farquaad, voiced by John Lithgow. Along the way he meets up with Donkey, voiced by Beverly Hills Cop's Eddie Murphy. Donkey is what you could call spirited. Despite Donkey really getting on Shrek's nerves, they continue on the journey together regardless. Finally meeting this Lord Farquaad, he relinquishes and agrees to restore Shrek's swamp to its original tranquility. However, on the one condition that Shrek rescues Princess Fiona, who is voiced by Cameron Diaz, from a dragon she has been held captive by, and brings her back to him to be his bride. So did I enjoy Shrek, and would you enjoy Shrek? Well, it's a good film. It's well made. It's fun. It brings in these elements of fantasy and fairy tale, and also has lots of comedic elements too. I mean, depends on whether you can get on with the characters' voices. Like I say, Shrek and Donkey, they can get a bit tiresome at times. More likely on repeat viewing. Initial viewings, it's all fresh and you're okay with it. I certainly was. But like I said, on repeat viewing, it's starting to come a little bit tiresome for me.
Why don't you just pull some of that ogre stuff on him? You know, throttle him, lay siege to his fortress, grind his bones to make your bread. You know, the whole ogre trip.
Oh, I know what. Maybe I could have decapitated an entire village and put their heads on a pike. Got the knife, cut open their spleen and drink their fluids.
There are some good lessons in there about, you know, sort of appreciating people for who they are rather than what they look like, and sort of digging deeper into a person's character before you judge them and that sort of thing. So that's quite good. But there is a little bit of mixed messaging going on there as well, so you can look out for that. Like I say, there are some laugh out loud moments as well. There's some excellent animation, some good riffs on the characters, and I especially enjoyed the character of Lord Farquaad, voiced by John Lithgow. He was brilliant, and not what you expect at all from this sort of story. So he was a good surprise, and so for me it was the standout character, and I really enjoyed that. If you come at this afresh with and you're in a good mood, then you'll probably enjoy it, and you'll go home happy with a smile on your face, I'm sure. And like I say, there's lots of good musical moments in it as well, so you can listen out for those. And one bit that I remember lots of times and look back on is the riff on the theme park queuing system and the character heads, people that have to wear the character heads.
Hey, you! Wait a second. Look, I'm not gonna eat you. I just...
Yeah, so that's a bit super funny, and it always puts a smile on my face. Here's some bits of trivia. Now, Shrek was actually the second animated feature released by DreamWorks, following on from Ants, and computer animation production, although it began in October '96, took 4 years to complete. What this actually allowed for is for them to make reference to films that weren't even released when the film was conceived. The prime example of this being The Matrix, which didn't come out till 1999. But there are loads of other references in the film. You've got the Blues Brothers, Babe, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, The Sweetest Thing, Riverdance, The Dating Game, Stacker 2, The Lion King and The Godfather. I mean, and it's good fun trying to pick them all out. Chris Farley, famous for his role as Tommy Boy, was originally cast as Shrek and had recorded most of the dialogue. However, his untimely passing meant recasting with fellow Saturday Night Live alumni Mike Myers. Now, initially, producers had thought to try and finish the lines off with an impersonator, and even brother Kevin Farley had considered finishing off the lines himself. However, he was too shaken up by his brother's death. So it went on to Mike Myers, but even Mike Myers was reluctant to take on the role because Chris Farley was a friend of his, and he didn't want to be respectful to that. However, after thinking it over a bit more and producers asking him, can we just settle this over a paint? He relinquished and decided to take on the role, and that line was actually used in the final cut of the film. However, once he'd taken on the role, he did ask for a complete rewrite of the parts to remove any vestiges of Chris Farley's involvement so that he could give his own fresh interpretation for the role of Shrek. Alan Rickman was initially cast to play Lord Farquaad, however he opted instead to play Severus Snape in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Also, the principal actors never actually met. They all recorded their lines separately, and they had a reader feed the lines for the other actors. John Lithgow playing Lord Farquaad, it stressed how disappointed he was that he didn't actually get to work side by side with Mike Myers, Eddie Murphy or Cameron Diaz. Lord Farquaad's logo, yes, he has a logo, is very similar to Facebook's logo. However, this is likely a coincidence, as Facebook and his logo wasn't established until 2004, a full 3 years after this film was released. And Shrek was the first film to win Best Animated Feature in 2001, beating out Jimmy Neutron, Boy Juniors and Monsters, Inc. in the process. If you're planning on picking up Shrek on physical media to watch in your home cinema, I recommend trying to grab hold of the 3-disc version. That way you get that bonus disc of special features. This is the version I grabbed. It's the UK exclusive from Zavvi. It's the steelbook version. This is the artwork you get on the front. On the back it looks like this, with them walking through a field, and on the inside you get these two pictures here. The steelbook is also available from Best Buy in the US, but I think they've used this cover artwork rather than the group shot that you get on this one here. And while I put the disc back in, I'll show you a close-ups of the back of the pack. That way that you can just peruse the options for sound and what the picture quality is, and also what special features, anything that they've listed there. And on the inside, there we go, I've just put the discs in. This is the 4K UHD, there's the Blu-ray, and that is that third special bonus disc that I talked about. And yeah, this is the best package that I could get hold of, and it's one worth getting if you love this film. So talking about the picture and sound that you can expect to experience from this release. The film was originally shot in 35mm, and here it is presented in 1.78:1, expanded out from the original 1.85:1 on release. And the picture quality really is great. Obviously there's computer animation from the early 2000s as well, which can, you know, look a little ropey at times, but I mean, generally speaking, you wouldn't notice it being out of place, and it does look great. I mean, the colour really does pop as well, especially with the HDR, the high dynamic range. And so things like fire especially do pop off the screen. Remember, there's a dragon in the story. So you really will experience that to its max. And it's probably the best presentation of this film you can expect to see in your home cinema environment. With regards to sound, the 4K UHD has an English DTS-X surround format, so that's the object-based surround format, so things above you and all around you, and it really does sound great. It really immerses you into the experience, and it really gives a lot of, you know, low-level bass when it needs it, and you can hear all the dialogue and everything and little sounds around you, and it really is very immersive, as I said. Also on the 4K disc you will get 5.1 options in some other languages, so Czech, Finnish, Danish, Norwegian and Swedish. On the Blu-ray itself there is an English True HD 7.1 track along with some 5.1 variants in Dutch, Flemish and French as well. Now, with regards to special features, you will not be left for wanting too much on this 3-disc release. Duplicated on both the UHD and the first Blu-ray is an audio commentary with directors Andrew Adamson and Vicky Jensen, along with producer Aaron Warner. There are also 8 minutes of deleted scenes, a photo gallery, and a featurette called Spotlight on Donkey, which runs about 11 minutes. There is also a musical section, so you've got Shrek in the Swamp Karaoke Party running 3 minutes odd. You have 2 music videos, The Baha Men's Best Years of Our Lives and also Smash Mouth's I'm a Believer. Now, exclusive to the 4K disc, you will also get another featurette called The Secrets of Shrek, running about 3 minutes. And also another musical section, which is a piece from the Shrek the Musical called What's Up Duloc. Then, exclusive to the Blu-ray, you have an Animator's Corner picture-in-picture featurette, and also they have what they call a DreamWorks Animation Jukebox, which is 5 musical numbers from 5 different animated films of theirs, things like Over the Hedge and How to Train Your Dragon, and 3 others. Disc 3's Blu-ray brings you loads more fun and frivolity from the Shrekiverse. You have Shrek in the Swamp Karaoke Party, again. You have Far Far Away Idol and Puss in Boots the Three Diablos. Then we have the Halloween specials, which are the Ghosts of Lord Farquaad. We have Scared Shrekless, Thriller Night and The Pig Who Cried Werewolf. And finishing off with the holiday specials, we have Shrek the Halls, Donkey's Caroling Christmas-tacular and also Shrek's Yule Log. And then finally, finishing things off, we have 5 episodes of The Adventures of Puss in Boots. So plenty to get your teeth into, also entertain your young ones. Shrek was very much a technical accomplishment of its day, and it did things very differently for the time, twisting things on its head and being very sarcastic and satirical in that now become fairly commonplace millennial way. There's lots to be had in here. There's great music at points. There's some laugh out loud moments, and I think anyone could probably enjoy it first time round. Second, third, fourth time round, it starts to get a little grating with some of the voices and some of the characters' mannerisms, etc. But how would I score this out of 10? Well, in this occasion, like I say, there's stuff to be enjoyed, but it doesn't really bear repeat viewing. So for me, Shrek is a 6 out of 10. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I'd be really keen to hear on your thoughts. If you find it something that could be rewatched time and again. I mean, I really enjoyed it when I first saw it, but on many a rewatch, which I have done since, it's kind of sort of outstayed its welcome a little bit. So there it is. It's been an absolute pleasure welcoming you to the Film Scene 21 today, and hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please do give it a like. It will help other people get to see it as well. And if you want to see any more content like this, do subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss anything going forward. I love welcoming every single one of you to the community here, this film appreciation community that we have. There are lots of other videos you can check out on my channel, and if you want to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, there'll be links down below, along with affiliate links to Amazon if you want to pick up any of the releases mentioned. If you do click through there, it doesn't cost you anything extra, but it will obviously support the channel very slightly, so that's really appreciated. I hope you enjoyed this. Do tell your friends about it as well, and I look forward to welcoming you very soon. So I'd like you all to take care, look after each other, and I will see you next time. My name's Simon. Bye bye for now.